Hey, don't take me wrong, very, very important. But I was missing the whole engagement part. So we have a problem here.
What made you gravitate towards this kind of work?
I had to learn, and I think most of the times in life we tend to learn with the pain, right? And the hard way. Two very, very key elements. The leadership engagement part, because if the leaders are not really into it, they cannot engage their teams, and they are key for the success of the teams.
Welcome to today's episode of the Consulting Growth Blueprint. We have a very special guest today, Kamila Adamatti, founder of Tone Up Business and host of the Shift Happens podcast. Kamila's work is especially important because a lot of companies go through massive transformations, restructurings, rebrandings, new markets, but they forget the people side. They announce the change and expect everyone to just figure it out. She brings a structured methodology to make sure the change actually sticks. Kamila's journey is a fascinating one. She is a chemical engineer who moved 16 times across continents before building a change management consulting firm with her own proprietary methodology called Speech. Kamila, welcome to the show. So excited to have you here.
Thank you so much, Armand. I'm very happy to be here too. And thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. For those of you just joining the podcast, we are Truvier AI Consulting, and we specialize in helping consulting companies scale their revenue using AI-driven client acquisition systems. If you want to learn how to take your consulting business to the next level, make sure to stick around. And if you're interested in a free growth consultation, just drop the word growth in the comments. All right. So, Kamila, can you tell us about your business, which is called Tone Up Business? What do you do for your clients? And what made you gravitate towards this kind of work with the change management?
The change management. Yeah. So the change management started much earlier in my life. I would say that I have changed so many times in my life in terms of location, culture, languages. Everybody has a lot of stories of changes. And I think the beauty of life is really the fact that we are always changing. Otherwise, don't know about you, but I feel so bored, So, in the change per se, I would say, professionally talking, 15 years ago, that's when the click came to me and I started to lead really big and complex changes, big projects for organizations that I was working for in the past. And then I noticed like a total lack of structure. And when someone would ask me to lead a project, say, hey, look, Kamila, we have this opportunity. This is a project. Are you in? Yes, I'm in. Okay, good luck. Awesome. Yes, good luck for me. And how do I do that? So I started to learn and study and read books about how to do the right from a project management perspective first and all of that. And I thought, I did a very good job, like being a good project manager at that point. But then leading this project, saying, okay, now I have all these wonderful spreadsheets. I have these one pagers for the sponsors and all of that. Hey, don't take me wrong. Very, very important. But I was missing the whole engagement part. It's like, awesome, I have milestones, deliverables. Yes, check, check, check. All green, all beautiful status. Everybody is happy. Everybody who? The ones that asked me for the project, but how about the rest of the population that are going to be highly impacted by that? Zero, crickets. So we have a problem here. So how am I going to now, out of the blue, come to these people, say, hey, welcome to this new era of your lives and your routines and your work. You have now a great project, that we are working on. It's amazing. Go and do it. It's because of my beautiful smile. No, right? So I had to learn. And, I think most of the times in life, we tend to learn with the pain, right? And the hard way, where I saw that my excitement and my project team's excitement was there, but all the rest of the company excitement was not there at all. It's like, okay, so what do we do wrong? And then you start checking things. Everything is good, the metrics and all, but wow, what are we missing? You say, well, what about communicating? How about engaging? How about showing the benefits, explaining purpose, the why and all of that? And I started to realize that not only when I'm about to launch something, but all the way through the process of the project, we had to have tools to engage people from the sponsor, the C-levels, until the other people that are going to be engaged and high impacted by that. So yes, it was through the hard way first. And then, of course, when you start seeing the need and when you work to a good and big company, they also help you to find good trainings. And then, I ended up being certified at change management back on those days. Internally, I had an internal certification. And with time and experience in leading more and more projects, which I'm very thankful for the opportunities they've given me, I noticed some sort of patterns. And that's when the speech methodology was born.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think right now it just clicked to me that you changing like 16 times across continents, developed this change management system. I think that gave you this idea of, okay, I'm probably good at this. Why not like make it structured and help other people who are going through these changes? So I think that's very fascinating. I didn't understand it first time we talked. So thank you for explaining that. And
Absolutely.
yes. So you talked about your speech methodology, how it was born. Can you walk us through what that stands for and how it works in practice?
Yes, absolutely. And before that, I have an extra comment, which is, with all the resilience that I built with all the changes in my life, personally and professionally, and, the ways to communicate and all, which for me always came very easy how to communicate and connect to people, and even though being like that, it was not obvious the first time I did a big project that I was supposed to do that more and more. The thing is, it's not that people do on purpose or make those mistakes on purpose when they don't engage with people. It's because you're so embedded to that and you're such in a different page than the rest of the company. You don't realize that that thing that became your daily routine on the project, on the milestones and all of that, people out there in the organization who are going to be impacted have no clue. And that moment to realize to say, okay, wait a moment, they have no idea. So why am I assuming they are in the same vibe, the same energy that I am about this? So it's just about realizing that you just need to be intentional and have the right tools, right? But anyway, back to the speech. So the speech stands for strategy, preparation, execution, engagement, calibration, and habits. And I mean, it's very, I would say, self-explanatory as you think about, the structure. Well, everything starts with strategy. And of course, without a very clear strategy on how and why you are doing things, I mean, you are not even able to articulate anything that you are doing further on. So without a very, very clear strategy, line with the mission, vision, goals of the company, you cannot build a case even financially. I mean, that makes sense to the clients, value added purpose kind of change. So that's the first part. And a lot of times what happens is that we go to strategy and we go from strategy straight to execution without realizing that a good preparation is so key. Right? When you think about especially big changes, but please bear with me, some change, it doesn't mean that it has to be just for big, complex, global things. It can be anything in your life that you intend to change in a personal or even a professional level, of course. So what happens is if you are not prepared, if you don't understand who is involved, who are the stakeholders, how you're going to communicate, articulate the whys very well, make sure that's the way it is, have a good sponsor to help you on that. So you have some authority, over, that change, the one that will help you with the barriers that you may find on the way and all of that. So without all of these, and if you skip it straight to the execution, you go to the execution totally unprepared. And you go there and you basically, build the plane while you're flying. Kamila, sometimes that's life. Well, sometimes that's life. I get it. And we'll figure it out. We'll do the best. But if we can do something right, step by step, please do a very, very good preparation first and then go to the execution, right? And the execution, basically, I divide in pre-launch and post-launch. Execution is really all the work from the project team before launching. All the engagements, we are going to have a pilot, we are not. I mean, how are we going to start engaging the leaders, the communication toolkits, and all those things. And then the post-launch, where the engagement, which is the second E, comes into play very, very, very strong. Because at this point, the whole impacted people and the whole organization will understand what's going on. And to avoid the rumors and, back conversations on the halls, all those fears that come to play, and all the negative thoughts that us as human beings, when we don't have clarity about it, we tend to think in a negative way. It's normal human response to that, right? So the more transparency you have in this process, the more you communicate, the less space you give them to think about bad things know themselves, and they can be focused on what matters the most, which is getting engaged, getting into that, feel that they're part of the process and all. One biggest part of the engagement, and of course I'm going very, very high level on all of that. My workbook is an 80-page training for that, so bear with me on that. The engagement that I say is so crucial. Two very, very key elements. The leadership engagement part, because if the leaders are not really into it, they haven't digested all the change yet, they don't really understand the benefits and all, they cannot engage their teams, and they are key for the success of the teams, right? So that's one. And the second one, give tools to the leaders and to all the population to provide good and genuine feedback, not just after all the process is done, but right now, because you can still make adjustments on the plan based on the inputs, the valuable inputs of the people that are going to be using or doing this change, day by day. And then you can adjust and go to the sea of calibration and do the calibration right. Make the adjustments timely, and not only make the adjustments, but take the opportunity to communicate these adjustments to the population so they feel, wow, they not only heard me, they are doing it, and they are letting everybody know about that. And I feel so heard. Then is that kind of, change that happens, that now is not the changing happening to me. Now I am part of it. And then the engagement grows so much because people really feel they are part of a big team going through this change, and not this, whatever they decided to do. Now I'm in here. Oh, I don't like it. I'm going to look for another job. I don't like about that. I'm afraid that something bad is going to happen. These kind of things that is so common to happen during changes. And last but not least, the habits. So important, because a lot of times what happens is that all the leaders like, yay, celebrate. Celebrate is good, by the way. Celebrate and all. Hey, here's your baby. Good luck. Bye. No good luck. Bye. Right? The habit is so important. You need to make sure things stick right. You have the right metrics, that you are going to check performance. You do internal surveys. You keep doing internal surveys just to see if everything is good. Maybe a phase 2.0 of whatever was launched, something like that might be needed, because it's not going to stop here. So make sure the engagement and the excitement and the usage of this new tool or process that started will be there, and people are adopting and are excited about it, and you are getting the results you agreed upon back on the strategy part of the process.
Yeah, thank you. And by the way, genius name, Speech, for your
Thank
product.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. And so, what part of that speech, like SPEECH, is the most difficult or most challenging to explain or implement? And what is like the most easiest that people just get it right away when you work?
If I assume companies with a certain level of maturity, right, they overall were pretty good on strategy. I would say in my training, when we go through strategy, which, I can spend easily a whole day talking about that. A lot of times when I do this assessment and understand where they are, I realize that, well, we will touch base more in a high level because I can tell that they're pretty good on that already. Sometimes what happens is that they miss some risk analysis here or some evaluation in terms of, okay, what's the risk of changing? What's the risk of not changing? The steady state also offers a risk that you need to evaluate. A few details here and there that people sometimes miss, and that is so important to keep going. The preparation is a big thing as well, but I will say that the most challenging one is the engagement, because there's still this myth around communication and change management. Change management is to send a few emails. I am communicating and it's all good. Oh my, absolutely not. So really to ensure you are engaged in the deep level, talk about the 3 whys of change that I say, why the organization is changing, why your department is changing, why you need to change to address that. These 3 layers of whys, it's so important to be able to articulate and communicate properly. Ways to communicate properly. I love this tip that I, in all the workshops I share with the people, and they use a lot because I like simple, because I think simple you can implement right away. And basically, when you send any email or when you communicate in any way, something like that, you need to think about No, feel, do. What do you want people to know? How do you want them to feel? And what do you want them to do? Easy, simple, can be one paragraph each. And, but I don't need them to do anything. Okay, so you say, hey, look, we don't expect any action from you right now. Set expectations, not just leave in the air, because that raises questions, right? What do we do now and why? Why I received this communication? I don't understand. It's just for me to be aware? No, say, hey, we hope that this communication helps you to clarify this, and that. Feel free to reach out to your supervisor for any other questions, and by the way, you don't need to do anything right now. We hope you understood and all, and you feel empowered with that. We want to be as transparent as possible. And by the way, we are going to communicate again in 2 weeks time frame. That's it. So even though there's no action, you clarify there's no action and what's coming next. So these kind of things, again, it's not big. It's not difficult. That's my point. You just need to think about doing that, intentionally doing that, and be open, to have that, communication back and forth, to have a feedback, and to not just to send an email, thank you so much, and that's it. I hope you like it, right? That's the main challenging, and I would say most of my clients, that's where we stay the most time on.
I see. Especially, I think you mentioned that people used to just send emails, and I think that's what they will call a communication. But in the age of AI, where people actually use AI to write those emails, I think that engagement part becomes even more challenging for you as well.
Extremely challenging. And yes, and I'm a big fan of AI. I use AI every day. But the engagement, the conversation, the care, the uniqueness of the interaction, you need to take the time and do it, right? So we are all humans and we connect as humans to each other, at least for now, and I think for a long time to come. So we need to take the time. Either the leaders need to take the one-on-ones, I don't have time. Well, make it time. 10 minutes, whatever. Go and say good morning if you're physically in the same location every day. Just check on them. See body language. Observe them. Right? It's like gold. Sometimes you don't need to have a very long conversation to realize what's going on.
I
And then
agree.
call someone and say, hey, look, I saw you're a little sad. I mean, it's not my business, your personal life and all. I just want to see, is everything okay? Is there anything I can help you? That's it. You show yourself available and open to help. Well, sometimes it ends up to a deep private conversation, which is okay. If the other person wants to talk about their life, all fine. But the fact that you're there, available to them, well, I had so many great friends that came into these interactions, Of course, my objective is not to make friends. If I make even better, and I love making a lot of good friends, but showing that you as a leader, you are there, you see them, you see there's something going on, and you put yourself available for that conversation. Wow, that makes such a difference. You build trust, right, as a leader and all. So in the change journey, sometimes what we don't realize is that it's a journey. It's just not like, you do this initiative, that's a change, that's it. No, the engagement, the building trust with your teams is a journey. And the more advanced you are in that, the less extra work you have during a change initiative, because the trust is there, the communication is there. So that's key.
I agree. That's fascinating. So let me ask you one more thing. You said companies usually don't call you before a transformation. They call you when things are really messy. So what does that typically look like when you walk in, and why that happens, that they only call you when things are messy? Even they have a great strategy, which you have mentioned, especially with a lot of companies that you work with.
Yes. Normally, what happens is we feel the need on something when we are having the problem, when we are having the pain. And I think, again, is another natural thing of human beings, right? I'm having a pain here. Now I'm taking a medicine. I'm not going to hope maybe take some preventive herbal solution so then I can avoid that pain, right? It's kind of how we are. We are more reactive, unless I've been having this pain over and over and over and over again, until finally I realize, okay, you know what? Enough. I don't want to have this pain anymore. I better start taking this other solution, because I'm tired of taking the medicine all the time, because it hurts much more taking the medicine as opposed to preventing the problem. It's the same deal. So happens, yes. First, second timers is like, oh, okay, I'm in the middle of the mess. Look at what's going on here. I need help. Yes. So then we go, we assess, we understand. all the step. Okay, what is the real strategy? Oh no, we have a strategy. We understand why. We did a risk analysis. We did okay, fine, yeah, check. Then preparation. How you prepare? Normally there are adjustments there. Still, even if you are in execution mode, it doesn't matter. We go back to preparation. We make adjustments, and then we continue executing with better preparation, right? So and so on, and then we go like that. But it's really to evaluate quickly through the methodology, through the speech lens, where you are right now, where we need to adjust, and keep going, even though you are already flying the plane and trying to fix it.
Yeah, thank you for answering that. And
Yes.
you also mentioned that you have a very strong philosophy about bringing seasoned professional to every project. I think we touched on it last time we talked. So at least 20 years of experience that you're looking for. Why is that so important, especially now with AI, how changing how consulting is delivered, and how is that reshaping this industry? Why is that still important or relevant for you?
I love that question, Herman. I've been in the other side, hiring consulting companies before, and I didn't have the best experiences per se when I was interacting with, very early career professionals in some aspects. Okay, very good on frameworks, following, processes and things like that. But there is a point that what you need is the background, the experience, and the practical advice from someone who has lived there. And again, I'm not talking no against the early, I've been there, but sometimes I need someone who has lived that, and someone that just came out from college. There's no miracle, right? They are learning and all. So I need someone more seasoned to help me, to guide me through the solutions. To me, ideally, a team of consulting people is have the mix. You have the early and you have the more, mid end of career, like kind of thing. So then first of all, one helps each other, like probably, not always, okay? I'm 47 and I'm getting good in AI, okay? But anyway, probably the person that is more like, 20 plus years of career will not have the same facilities, the same, likelihood to work with something more technological, right? That someone that just came from college probably will, handle easier. Having these mixed teams helping each other with these different skills, I think that's really the beauty of that. But the reason I have seasoned professionals working with me is because our main focus when we have a methodology is this engagement, the people side. And what I have noticed is that my clients, they see more value on the experience because they can relate to each other much better, and we can provide better service and better advice to them. So yeah. And also because of the feedback as well, and the way I see things going in terms of more experienced and seasoned professionals when we serve clients.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you have this mixed of people, new people that are really good at technology with AI, and you're also getting good with AI as well, as you mentioned. So how do you see AI fitting into this change management as a tool that helps, or something that creates more change to manage for you? How does that help you?
Yes, and just one more addition on that. My digital marketing person in my team, she just went out from of college. I learned a lot with her, and I'm coaching her already. So as I said, I think certain things to certain areas, right? Certain people in certain areas. And this mixed generational, I think, is powerful in teams. In terms of AI, Herman, I see like that. I have a first meeting with a client, right? And we record. I use AI to help me with the key themes and things that I may have missed. And then maybe it just brings to life, right? The person mentioned this, that might be important. So, that's true. That might be something else for me to consider. It's so helpful to do a more assertive diagnosis of the problems. So that's one thing that I uses a lot to summarizes things for me and help me to evaluate assessments and stuff. Obviously, I use AI on those things, and I always double, triple check things as well, because again, even though I provide a lot of inputs of my expertise, my book, all my things, there are things that is just me and my experience, right? At least so far, I couldn't build an agent that has all my background. Maybe one day, and coming soon, I'll be happy to. But as of now, I get all those technicalities, all the summaries and these assessments. And then once I see, it's just easier for me to digest and think through my experience, how to offer a better service, how to address the key problems of a client, and how to how even to propose a contract to these clients.
I see. So you use AI for your own personal, like improving your own efficiency, but do you also see that coming into this change management business and maybe helping or maybe not helping, or what kind of positive or negative impact that you can see if the AI is implemented within the change management system?
Within the change management, okay, yes, well, I see a lot of positive things in terms of bringing frameworks and advices and structure, right? Because again, it's very important. But what I don't see AI doing, at least not right now, is getting all this engagement, this interaction to work well. Really evaluating when you, for example, when you do interviews, for example, you have a team that just went through a huge change and you see a bunch of skepticism, people not adopting the new situation or things like that. When you sit, or when you have an online, even online, you can get that pretty well. And you have a conversation with these persons, like 101, for instance, when you ask something, sometimes comes, oh, well, or like that. Oh, yes, I'm doing this. Whatever is the body language and things like that, well, we're not capturing that yet. Well, that's one of the things in the assessment, right? And then after that, really to bring that engagement, that interaction, that human side of it, I still don't see AI doing that anytime soon. So I don't think that's applicable for the engagement part, for sure.
I agree. And based on what you mentioned, this is the most challenging thing for your clients or you to like tell them or teach them. I agree.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
So let's move on and let's turn the lens on your own business. You mentioned you're trying to scale Tone Up right now and build more revenue predictability. So where are you right now? Are you in active growth mode, or are you focused more on getting these new projects off the ground first that you mentioned?
Yes, I have. Yeah, it's so many things going on my plate right now, Herman. Yeah, so I have like working to scale the Tona business consulting, right, to the next level. With them trying to increase my lead funnel and bring more predictability on the revenue and all of that. So I'm working with different tools. I just finalize and establish good, processes, because anything you want to scale, if you don't bring processes, you don't move, right? You have to have very good and established processes, train people to help you, things like that. It's on the way, it's getting there, but it's still a lot to go, right? A lot to go. And then I have another project coming that actually came from a few interactions with different leads, as I was asking very open questions in terms of what was next in their pipeline, what they were working on, and things like that. And they came with that question of, oh, we are considering the Brazilian market. We thought that we could expand to Brazil. So do you do anything? I mean, do you help people to go to Brazil? And then, well, my answer was not yet. If it starts repeating, if you start seeing this interest coming over and over and over, to me, there was something there. So I started to evaluate. And then what happened is that I reconnected with people that worked with me 18 years ago back in Brazil. Very, very clever people with a lot of experience. I would say that the three of us together is about 70 years of experience. So I love that. Everyone in their own area, in their own pillar. That's how we call internally. So then we created the Market Gate Brazil, which is basically a one solution advisory firm that provides everything that you need for you to establish presence in Brazil, either through exporting first, just distributing through a distributor or other channels, or maybe having an office there, maybe sales team there, and the rest in the headquarters. Anyway, any shape or form, mergers, acquisitions that you're interested to invest more in the country, which is a $2.6 trillion market. Great opportunity. It's different, so it can be a little challenging. So you need to partner to the right people to really be successful. But it is super worthwhile for sure. And yeah, it's a project that we just launched like about a month ago.
I see. Yeah. And you mentioned taking it to the next level, your tone up business. So let me ask you, what does that next level look like for maybe next 6 to 12 months or maybe a bigger time horizon?
More tools, more automations in many more admin areas that some things are more manual. It's interesting because I'm an entrepreneur for 4 years only. And when you start that journey, you just learn very, very early that you have to wear so many hats in a one day, just in one day. So you need to it's just everything, right? So I am learning more and more how to automate things that can be automated internally related to expenses, costs, revenue, invoices, contracts, things like that, which I confess, I don't really enjoy to manage that either, but it's part of the deal. So the more and more, so I really, when I sit on up business consulting in 12 months is really to be a company where I have many more automated processes and flowing in a more smooth way as we get more clients and serve more people, hiring more people on the way, and of course, growing and delivering more and more to the clients.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, Camila, sounds like you've had an incredible journey from engineering to building Tone Up, launching partnerships, now building an app. You also mentioned the project in Brazil, and you touched on scaling and building, I think, revenue predictability in our last conversation as well. And right
Yes.
now, you're personally driving most of the outreach yourself. So,
Yes.
if you had a magic wand to fix that one thing on that front, what would that be?
I don't know. You mean process wise? I mean, or any problem that I may facing right now?
So right now, you like most of the outreach that driving your business, you're doing it yourself. And I think
So
because
you
of that,
mentioned the outreach.
you also mentioned, I think you have like 25% of those are conversions. If 25% is the conversion rate, you have to talk to a lot of people. So if you had a magic wand to fix one thing on that front, what would that be?
I think one of the things that I'm working on very thoroughly is around the messaging on social media and how to reach out to people. Because sometimes I feel like it's very challenging when I just mention change management. Just because the misunderstanding that some people have around what is change management, or it's just a communication, or this kind of myths that, around that. So I think one of the challenges is really how to get the message across in a more powerful way to grow more. Because the fun thing on that is once I get into calls with clients, they love it. But until I get to calls, they are not certain that's the best fit around the pain that they are having and all. So the magic wand will be probably to fix that part. How do I make it more interesting? How do I build that understanding around change management and the relevance? I've been working a lot on social media with posts, to really talk about that and just saying very clearly most of the times that yes, we do have a framework, but it has to have engagement. If it doesn't matter. You may have like $1 million tool in front of you, wonderful, beautiful. If people are not engaged, that is going to be for nothing. So yes, I would say that would be to get more conversion from my outbound, and from my leads for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
So before we wrap up, for any business listening who's going through a transformation and needs help doing it the right way that you, I think, described in this call, where can people find you and what's the best way to connect with you?
Yes. And if I may, Herman, I'll just leave, the links on the show notes to share with the audience. But, it's through my website, toneupbusiness.com, and through my LinkedIn, Kamila Adamatti. So the links will be there and be shared. And I'll be very happy, to get your DMs, and to connect with you, to understand your challenges, and then, through a short call, just start a discussion about that.
So which social media are you more active on, LinkedIn or some other?
LinkedIn. Yeah, I have Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook and all, but really LinkedIn is the one that I focus the most. Of course, there is the YouTube through my podcast. And I also encourage all of you to watch the Shift Happens podcast, where I interview executive leaders about their journey on managing, navigating organizational change. Super cool. I love it. It's turning 1 year, is the first year anniversary on May 15. So I'm excited to celebrate the first year. We are live every Thursday morning US Eastern Time.
Congratulations on your anniversary.
Thank you.
So, Kamila, this has been an amazing conversation. Really appreciate your time and insights today, especially the speech methodology. I think this is something that will help a lot of our listeners and give a lot of value to them.
I was just going to say, and if I may, and I should have mentioned before, I can also leave you a link to my very short 11-page ebook where I talk more about the speech methodology. I mean, very, very short and easy reading. So I will share with you all as well.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So for everyone watching, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and drop the word growth in the comments if you are interested in a free growth consultation. Kamila, thanks again for being on the Consulting Growth Blueprint.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Herman. And yes, I do appreciate your time. And thank you to the audience who has been here until now listening to us. And touch base with us. All feedback is always welcome. Thank you so much.